Hi everybody, welcome to How We Are Church and our conversation for this morning. I'd like to introduce you to Kev. Welcome Kev, this is Kev Nash. We spoke to Rachel, his wife, last week. And as for those of you who haven't been following us, we've been looking at the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. And we started off in September and we decided that we were going to go through it very slowly so we can look at it in depth and break it down. So we're at our second stage, and whereas at the beginning we looked at Science and Solitude, we're now looking at Sabbath. So this is our third part of 4 parts related to Sabbath. And I think for me, I don't know about you, Kev, but this is quite a challenging part, a challenging conversation. So today's topic is about a digital detox. So I guess my first question, I don't know whether you want to say a bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into some questions.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting starting to look at Sabbath because this is something that Rachel has been wanting to do for a while, as for us as a family. And I think it's probably only relatively recently in the last kind of 6 months or so that we've been taking it more seriously. I think I've been a little bit resistant over the time, but now starting to get into it. And so it's an interesting journey to go along. And yeah, we've been doing it for a while. We are no means experts, and we particularly today, as we're looking at digital detox, it's something that kind of ebbs and flows for us as we go. And but we're just trying to kind of look at how we can slow down, how we can focus more on our family and focus more on worship. So doing this is actually a really good way that we can together work through some of those things that are really helping us as a family to grow closer.
That's great. So when you talk about digital detox, what comes to mind? Because I know that some people go, does that mean I have to leave my phone alone? And how do I function? You know, we've had conversations about, I don't know how to do music if I can't use my phone. You know, what does detox mean for this digital detox mean for you?
I guess when listening to the term digital detox, I kind of think it's almost like you turn away from something. So if somebody had, say, an addiction and they went for a detox on drug addiction or alcohol addiction or whatever that may be, it would be to almost go cold turkey, to turn away from that thing and completely lay it down. So the term digital detox makes me think, actually, we're going to switch everything off, have no distractions, nothing pinging, nobody calling you, and it's completely all gone. But it doesn't have to be a kind of quick cold turkey. I think it can be a gradual process.
I think so. I think that's where I'd come to, and I was kind of like, I'm not sure I could completely manage to go cold turkey. And I think it's, you've been doing it for a while. We've been doing it for a bit. And I think actually only this weekend we actually managed to have both phones upstairs and not engage with phones. Although I have another device downstairs that allows us to do music. Catherine's been better than I have to say. So since starting Sabbath, have you always introduced this idea of not using digital devices or having a digital detox? Or has it been a gradual journey for you? How's that kind of panned out?
I think interestingly, the digital detox for us has probably started a little bit before Sabbath in a kind of general terms. So it was many years ago that Rachel and I really noticed that the last thing we did before we went to sleep was we checked our phones. We looked at Facebook, watching videos, whatever it may be, and we weren't engaging with each other. So many years ago, we decided that actually at night we would leave our devices downstairs and making sure that we had a clock in the room so we could actually tell the time and we weren't reliant on our phones. And so that's where our journey started. Plus also we were really conscious of the example it sets for our children and about having devices in bedrooms and that kind of stuff. So in some respects, we've got used to leaving our devices overnight. So in some ways, it made it a little bit easier when it came to detoxing. When we started Sabbath, we didn't digital detox. We we just kind of carried on as we were. But we slowly started to bring it in because it is hard. It is hard to completely switch off. And so some of the challenges we have now are things like, church being online. So we're all sat around our devices now, aren't we? So how do we digital detox when we're doing online church, which is really hard. And so I make sure that I have everything ready for Sunday. So I will switch my computer on if I remember on a Saturday night, and I'll close down my email applications and things that get and notify me. So when I then flick on my computer on Sunday, I put it on Do Not Disturb so that I'm not going to get messages coming during church and that kind of stuff. And mainly to stop a distraction during church as much as anything. But we do try and put our devices off to one side. So again, devices go on to Do Not Disturb for us. Our Sabbath is a Sunday, so we do not disturb on a Sunday, and we occasionally will check them. But in the manual on the kind of planning that John Mark Comer put together, he said that some people may like to check a few times a day, just in case there's an emergency or something. And I think that can work. We often we just take the philosophy that if there's an emergency, it's going to be from certain people, and they've got our landline, and they'll call that. So then, yeah, old school. Yeah, have to go round the numbers to dial up to someone. But no, we don't. But then we just think then we don't need to use our devices. Back in the day, we all remember when we used to be able to meet up with people. We did a little bit of digital detox and meeting people, but we did use our devices for that. And I think part of it's not trying to go kind of really rule based on this. Technology is there to help. It can also really distract. So if we're meeting up with friends, yeah, we'll use our devices, and we will make sure we're going to be in the right place at the right time, running late, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes we decide that we're going to do something as a family, and we're going to sit down and watch a movie. So we don't turn around and say we're absolutely no TV. We just, because we might want to watch a movie together, and that's something that is going to bring joy and life and wholeness to us as a family.
That's really cool. What I'm finding about Sabbath is this whole element of grace. I think it's something that I haven't necessarily thought about very much when coming to a Sabbath. Actually, sometimes we can be very much like it has to be done a certain way. And I'm a planner, so having a plan and following the plan is quite important. Whereas actually having grace for the plan not to work is really good too. The kids watch a bit of TV in the morning, and that's a blessing for us because we get to stay in bed. Yeah. Which is nice, and that's a good way to start our day. And then I think we've got to the point where we are starting to leave, like I said at the beginning, we're starting to leave our devices upstairs. Although I did have a little chuckle to myself last week because it was like, well, I leave my phones downstairs when I go to bed, but then I leave my phones upstairs when I do Sabbath, which is it was quite fun. But yeah. So what other things do you do to plan? I mean, you've mentioned a couple of things in terms of your work, setting out your emails. Has that had an effect? Has that had a positive effect on the way that you're doing Sabbath then, as a result of doing that, having that plan?
I think you just get into the philosophy that things just won't get dealt with on a Sunday, and I think nothing is going to be that urgent that I need to reply to it. I think one of the challenges. So for me, I'm not a heavy user of Facebook and social media. I will read stuff on it, but I don't really post. So I think one of the challenges in our modern society is that whole kind of, I guess in some ways it is almost an addiction level where you're posting things and you want people to like it, you want responses, you want comments, you want likes, and so that's why you get the check-in. I'm going to check. And I think lots of and I know I've been there, and I think lots of the time we think, oh yeah, that's not me, but it actually so often does boil down to that. And I think that so knowing that is switched off, and we're not looking at those kind of things. I think the greater challenge I have over social media is probably just planning stuff. So I'm a task orientated person, and I like things ordered, and so I'll be sitting there even on Sabbath thinking, okay, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and then I'll see, oh well, if I look up how to do that online, oh no, I can't do that, it's Sabbath. And I think that's where I struggle, because I want to kind of watch a YouTube video on how to fix this or how to build that or whatever it may be. I've really got into the habit of I use a paper diary now often, and so just writing in my diary the things that I need to do in the week.
Wow.
So that, and I do that on a Sunday when something crops up, so I know, okay, I've written that down, I can kind of park it, leave it, and then look at it on Monday.
Catherine has converted me almost to I used to do my WhatsApp things on my mobile phone, but now I've started writing down on paper. When we first got married, I was like, no way, it's like, I don't write stuff down. It's got to that point. I'm getting old, something like that. So in terms of your Sabbath then, how have you come out? So having put everything to a side, has it had an impact in your family life in terms of the Sabbath? Does it make it more, feel like you're more engaged, that you can involve more in terms of what you're thinking and engaging with the worship of God? What's the overriding impact of that, putting stuff away then? Has it changed your mindset?
Yeah, I think what it does is it makes you think through more of what you're going to be doing together. So rather than let's just stick a movie on, let's listen to an audio book, or the kids saying, can I do this, can I do that? It's like, well, what are we going to do together? So we get out a game and we play a game together. As Rachel mentioned last week, we're reading a book, and we'll do that together. And we've spent a few Sundays where we've kind of just gathered around the piano, and Rachel's played, and we've done some worship stuff together, and that's been really nice for Rachel's extended family as well, because at the moment, us all living together, that's something that they've joined in and done as well. And so it's made us think through, like, how are we worshiping? What are we doing to worship? We'll go for longer walks on a Sunday, because again, we're not thinking we've got to do this, or we've got that call to make, or that thing to do. So our time feels a lot freer to be able to do those things together as a family. And I think that's really, really important. And we've just thinking back to last Sunday, as we were Sabbathing, we were just sat over the meal table, just chatting for longer, because we've got more time, because we're not rushing on to the next thing, and just literally laughing over the silliest things. But it was a real joy moment. And I think Sabbath is about joy, it's about family, it's about worship. And I think there are things that we want to do differently on our Sabbath, and so we are thinking through kind of what does worship look like a bit more, but we've not quite got there yet. But I think it's a constant learning process, isn't it?
It is. It's very much my experience of the last couple of months is very much like we've taken something, we've started something, and then one week it might not work, or there might be something that causes some kind of conflict within either the kids, and so we've reflected on that. Or we were reflecting on last week, where Rachel was talking about the planning of food and getting everything ready, and I was talking to you about this earlier, and the fact that actually Catherine ends up cooking on the day. And we sat down at the table last week, and we got the whole family together, and we said, right, what should we do differently? How should we do this sort of so that Catherine doesn't have to cook for the whole on a Saturday morning, which is our Sabbath. And it was really great to have that conversation, the time to sit together and just talk it and make it part of the essence of what Sabbath was. It was a family thing. We're all in it. We're trying to make it as we are. We're trying to embrace what we're doing. But it's a family thing. It's everybody's involved. Everybody has a say in what's going on, and that was really good. We're still working that through, and we'll come to a conclusion of what that looks like. But yes, I love the element where it's something that grows, and I don't know about you, but Sabbath it's really impacted. This last week, this Saturday, was probably my favourite so far, because we just managed to chill out. I think not having the phones upstairs, for me personally, taking my phone and leaving upstairs was quite significant, because I wasn't aware of it in the house, and therefore my mindset was, like you said earlier, about being able to let go of worrying about something that was going to be, a text come in or checking emails or whatever it was. I could let go of that, and therefore I was more present in where I was at that point in time, in family or with Catherine or whatever activity we were doing at the time, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So to summarize the points we've done so far. So the first one was making sure we have a plan ready for Sabbath. So if you have your devices, how are you going to use that? If you're using TV, how are you going to use that? What does that look like for you on a Sunday or a Saturday, or whatever day it is you choose to do Sabbath? The second one, which John Mark Cumming talks, is make any social plans ahead of time, which is quite difficult at the moment unless you're going to see people on Zoom. Or maybe you're going to go for a walk, but to get it ready so that you don't have to plan it on the day. And to have a place where you put your devices away. I don't know about you, but we are trying to put them in a set place. And then to spend the rest. I love the way he puts number 4, which he's done last week and this week. Spend an entire day in rest and worship, which I think is fantastic. Anything else you want to add, Gabby? I mean, I guess it's an opportunity to say, how are you finding Sabbath? We're talking about detox, but this is great to hear your side of things. We've heard Rachel last week, but how have you found it?
Yeah, so I think personally, we are enjoying it more and more as time goes on, and I think I've been reflecting as well on just how Jesus did Sabbath, and it was with people. And yes, we can't at the moment see more people, but I think like potentially in the future, as we can, we're freer to see people. That's something we really want to incorporate, like doing Sabbath with family and friends, and doing good on Sabbath as well, where there was so many Jewish laws that kind of stop this, stop that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And so we're really trying hard not to make it legalistic, which is why I'm just, like I said earlier, we watch a family movie together. If the kids are absolutely shattered and they're climbing the walls and you just think, I need to stick a movie on for them, just do it. Right. Like, I don't think it's going to, I think it's got to be a relaxed approach to it as well. And I think we are just finding we are worshiping more together and just having that time with God. And I think it really does set us up for the week. It really does. And so I'm pleased that we've done it. I think it's something that we will constantly be developing, constantly be assessing and changing, but it's definitely enhancing our lives at the moment.
That's awesome. So that's great. I think we're going to finish there on that on our digital detox. So if you're listening to this and you've been following our Sabbath, the challenge is, how do you bring that into your Sabbath? How do you're doing your digital detox will affect your Sabbath. So have a think about it this week. And if you're in Connect groups, it's going to be the thing that we talk about and we unpack, which will be really interesting. And I love the way that I'm already hearing in the community about how this is generating conversation and challenging people in terms of what they thought Sabbath was and the way that Sabbath is, which is fantastic. I'm really excited about how that's going to draw us into a closer and more dynamic relationship with Jesus as we move forward as a church and also as a community and as our families as well. So thanks so much for you, Kev, for joining us today. It's been brilliant having you here and listening to your input and your wise words. We're going to say our bye, so we'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Hi guys, it's so good to have you this morning, whether it be on Facebook or on Zoom. We are Hemel Vineyard Church and we're just doing life together as we follow Jesus. If you want to be part of that journey, then feel free to come and join us, whether it be on Zoom, again on Facebook next week, or drop us a line and have a conversation with us. We'd love to hear from you. Another place you can find out what's going on would be to check out our website, which is www.hemelvineyard.org.uk. I pray this week that you would know Jesus' love and his presence with you in whatever you face. See you next week. Bye.